This video is sponsored by Squarespace, more on that in a sec. I don't know about you, but for me, YouTube has always been a platform that celebrates introversion, spending time by yourself, being alone. During and after the pandemic, I started to realize that more and more vlogs had living alone or being alone somewhere in the title. And yes, it certainly comes down to the fact that most of us had to live alone for a very long time, making that content highly relatable. But things have changed now. We can socialize, we can see people again, but that content still remains very popular. It seems that people don't want to see travel vlogs anymore, but on the other hand, social media have normalized and romanticized loneliness, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do that, I'd like to introduce you to today's sponsor, Squarespace. Little anecdote here, but I used to love spending hours making blogs for high school or even uni classes. The thing is that the interface wasn't practical at all, and yes, it worked for a final year project, but it's not going to make you stand out if you're looking into building your online presence, your brand, or online business. All of that to say that I was super happy when Squarespace reached out, and now I'm going to show you what I love the most about this platform. Squarespace makes building your website super easy and interactive. They provide help and directions at every step of the process. Okay, so this is what my homepage looks like. Nothing crazy really. I'm still building it and I'll show you how it changes in the following weeks. But yes, I'm mainly interested in the all-in-one aspect of Squarespace. I can connect all my social media accounts and use my website as a landing page for all my activities. So for example, here you can see my channel page where I put my last video. Running the channel, Patreon, and the work I do outside YouTube requires a lot of time. And if you're running a business or plan on doing so, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're constantly juggling multiple tasks at the same time. While Squarespace blogging tools allow you to schedule, to categorize so that you can focus on what matters to you. Finally, Squarespace email campaigns are a good way to stay in touch with your clients or community. You can design a template that fits your website aesthetic and measure the impact of every send with built-in analytics. Now Squarespace and I have a very cool offer for you. All you have to do is to head to squarespace.com/alice.cappelleyt to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain using the code alice.cappelleyt, all in capital letters. Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring the video, and now let's go back to it. To begin with, I want to look at one of my favorite paintings, and actually many people's favorite painting, Nighthawks by Edward Hopper. Nighthawks depicts a group of rather lonely individuals, but the loneliest of all is you standing outside the bar in the dark staring at strangers. Nighthawks, a painting Hopper claimed was inspired by a restaurant on Greenwich Avenue, was first shown to the public in 1942, a time where US cities were growing very fast and individuals from all over the country would come to find work and fulfill the American dream. Now I want to argue here that the popularity of a painting like Nighthawks and the Living Alone vlogs is very similar. The glass of the restaurant is made in a way that it almost disappears, letting the viewer see every single detail of the scene, ultimately allowing them to share the loneliness of the characters, each one of them being lost in their own thoughts. Other paintings of Hopper use the same technique of the almost disappearing glass or window to let the viewer fully engage with the character, making his art highly relatable. Nevertheless, the glass never fully disappears, as a constant reminder that, yes, we can connect through a shared feeling of loneliness, but that ultimately we are alone. Similarly, vlogs on the internet are viewed through an almost disappearing window, your computer, phone or TV screen. I don't know you, you barely know me, but we are having this conversation, or at least we're pretending. By clicking on those Living Alone Diaries videos, you accept their voyeuristic nature in exchange for the comfort of a shared feeling of loneliness. Just as in Nighthawks, you are comfortable, you're in the dark, in your bedroom, on a train with your headphones on. Nobody can see you, and more importantly, nobody is expecting anything from you in return. In his book called The Lonely Crowd, David Riesman takes a look at the rapidly changing post-war American society. He distinguishes 3 types of social characters to which people identify more or less: tradition-directedness, inner-directedness, and other-directedness. The movement of younger generations from the countryside to the city, combined with the rise of many different forms of media, shifted individuals' character from tradition-directedness, so people who are more focused on family, religion, traditional values, to other-directedness, so people who are more conscious of other people's opinion, how they appear in society, etc. Lastly, inner directedness refers to people who work according to their own system of values, independent from the opinion of others. A feature that is commonly associated with other directedness is a general lack of confidence, and as the title of the book indicates, a sense of loneliness. Having that in mind can inform the way we analyze and look at a painting like Nighthawks, but also the way we look at living alone vlogs, because they are the long-term products of a society that moved from tradition directedness to other directedness. Again, when you watch a living alone type of vlog, nobody sees you. There is absolutely no expectations on your part. You can both relate to and escape your other directed nature.
Last night my dad and I went to an art museum.
Emma has built a very strong fan base throughout the years. 2018 was the year she went from under 100k to 6 million followers in less than 6 months. In 2019, Time magazine included her in their Time 100 Next, and since then she's been invited to many celebrities' events, and even hosted the 2021 Met Gala. What really separates Emma Chamberlain from other mundane turned wealthy YouTubers is that she managed to stay relatable. She always made her invitations to the Met Gala or other celebrities' events the anomaly, and daily mundane life the norm. Loneliness and melancholy are features that have always characterized her internet persona. She regularly jokes about not having much friends, spending a lot of time alone, feeling depressed, being reluctant to adult. I came to love Emma Chamberlain's vlog very recently actually, as her vlogging style changed from sound and visual effects dense to minimalistic little pieces of art. For me, that change allowed to shift focus from the visuals to speech, and the way Emma talks to the camera is very special. So special that it made me think of one of the most beloved but also hated fictional characters of all time. I reread The Catcher in the Rye a little while back and realized that 1, some passages are actually very problematic, and 2, the way Alden talks to the reader is very similar to the way Emma Chamberlain talks to the camera. Let me show you a few clips from Emma's videos to show you what I mean. In that video, Emma's been delaying going back to LA and is in Paris. The vlog switches from her sharing her thoughts to peaceful images of the city. Half of the video is about her wanting to go to the bathroom, she lost her wallet, found it, and spent the night with her dad. Not much going on, pretty similar to The Catcher in the Rye, where Alden, a 17-year-old teenager, spends a few days in New York wandering by himself. Emma and Holden are similar on different levels. They either come from a privileged background or became wealthy, they dropped out of school, they suffer from depression, they don't really like to interact with people, they don't like people in general, they live in big cities, and they are often alone, sometimes lonely, but more importantly, they are very honest about it. Emma did an entire video where she explains she would miss school days and regularly feel like crying in class for reasons she can't explain. She desperately wanted to get her driving license so that she could simply get away wherever she felt like going. Similarly, The Catcher in the Rye starts with Holden explaining us why and how he left Pansy Prep and how he actually got expelled by the school because he was missing classes and was failing at tests. That prompted him to want to escape and discover New York City. We discussed earlier patterns of other directedness and inner directedness, and I would argue that it's kind of hard to situate Holden and Emma. The two appears as unapologetic and affected by social norms, but still profoundly ostracized by a feeling of not fitting in, and that translates in what made their success. The way they use speech.
Right now I'm in the mood for a coffee. I already had one this morning, but I think it's time for another one. So I'll start there. It's almost like a scavenger hunt. It's like, okay, first stop I want to find a coffee shop. Then I just walk until I find one of those, and it's like a scavenger hunt. Next thing you know, you've been out all day and you had a great fucking time. Also, I literally love filming myself in public here because for some reason nobody cares. It's really awesome. Okay, never mind.
Similarly, the first page of The Catcher in the Rye opens onto a very clumsy paragraph. If you really want to hear about it, the first thing you'll probably want to know is where I was born and what my lousy childhood was like, and how my parents were occupied and all before they had me, and all that David Copperfield kind of crap, but I don't feel like going into it, if you want to know the truth. In both cases, the sentences are all either very long or very short, they start with I, there are pauses, the topic of discussion drags on, and it all sounds a bit painful but somehow very real. I mean, the first sentence Holden say is literally, if you really want to hear about it, if that was a video, it certainly wouldn't be clickbait enough to get the algorithm going. They also both use a lot of coarse language and become defensive quite easily.
The thing I do wonder about self-portraits back in the day is like, how did they do it? Like, did they take like a photo of themselves? Were there even cameras back then? I know there were cameras. Okay, don't get fucking mad at me. I play dumb all the time. I'm not actually that dumb. I play dumb a lot. And I am dumb sometimes.
This extract reminds me of Holden repeatedly asking taxi drivers what happens to Central Park ducks. In the winter, where do they go? It's very naive, but at the same time it creates sympathy for the character. Generally speaking, Emma's vlog and The Catcher in the Rye seem like a never-ending stream of consciousness. It's therapeutic for them to just pour random thoughts to a complete stranger, or just the idea of a stranger really, the viewers or the readers. Like, have you ever felt that once a safe space is established, it can be much easier to share personal stuff, relationship issues, traumas to an absolute stranger rather than a friend? Well, this is the DNA of YouTube. In the early days of the platform, people from all over the world would share videos of their daily life. One of those people stood out, Brie, or better known as Lonely Girl 15. She definitely popularized the stream of consciousness type of videos on YouTube. A 16-year-old girl, Brie would share videos on a regular basis from the comfort of her bedroom. The project was backed by a team of producers and directors, but became the basis for the development of the vlog genre, which still dominates YouTube today. YouTube is a huge platform, but over the years, content creators have managed to create niches, channels that turned into safe spaces for specific communities or specific needs. Okay, so we talked a lot about the videos, now it's time to scroll down a little and take a look at the comment sections. You'll find a lot of supportive comments under living alone vlogs, but nothing compares to the LoFi community. I discovered the existence of the LoFi community now let's be honest, my sister told me about it recently, and I found it fascinating to see how everybody was pouring their sadness, thoughts, doubts in the comment section of Lo-fi playlist videos on YouTube. The video is then only a medium, a space for that discussion to happen. The exchange can be anonymous. There is absolutely no social expectations. Lo-fi music has become community music. It became super popular because students all over the world use it to get them through their exams and studies. Focus music is put on to get through some really difficult tasks, and the comment section of these videos allows people to connect and talk about some of those woes. The result is a string of rants, users telling each other, "You go girl, you can do it," or "Damn, I'm late for class again," or "It's raining in my city." It's the most delightful exchange of varied cultural experiences, and one can see how it takes the edge off whatever you're going through. A common theme running throughout this video is the need and provision of safe spaces to express and share loneliness. The internet has become a platform for the creation of those safe spaces that people struggle to create in real life. Now, it's not my first time recommending this book, but Glitch Feminism from Legacy Russell really shows how individuals can turn the interhuman solidarity of safe spaces into something bigger than themselves. The Living Alone vlogs, Emma's vlogs, and the Lo-fi community offer rather short-term fixes, limited forms of solidarity. On the other hand, Russell wants to utilize the sense of empowerment generated by those digital communities and turn that into action, political action. In her case, cyberfeminism, gender politics, technology, and ethics. And that for me is exactly the aim of commentary YouTube, video essays on YouTube, where actually the aesthetic very much resembles the Living Alone vlogs, Emma Chamberlain's vlogs, or the Lo-fi aesthetic. I mean, look at this setting. This is a bedroom setting. It's personal. We are sharing something together, and yes, it's an analysis, but we're also sharing feelings and emotions, and we are trying to turn that into something that is bigger than ourselves. I've heard a lot of experiences of people who went from watching a lot of lifestyle content to watching a lot of commentary, video essay type of content. And I think it really shows a desire to not only share feelings through the camera, whether it's loneliness or anything else really, but also use this connection we have to actually think beyond ourselves. Yes, I managed to turn a very apolitical topic into something political. That's what this channel is all about. So if you want to see more, you can subscribe, you can like this video. I would like to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video, and also thank my Patreons for their support. A special thanks to Ben, Benjamin, Joshua, Oswald, Joshelle, and Carla. Salut!